I talked about panic buying chicks in some of my other videos before and how I feel about the people that have been doing that, my thoughts on it. So make sure you check out that video, but I wanted to talk about it again briefly today because it's still happening, especially really bad in my area at least. So if you haven't seen some of my other videos, I manage a small feed store / farm store right in my town. And this time of year, we sell baby chicks like a lot of feed stores do. And we've been very lucky so far because even though we've had a lot of people panic buying and mobs of people, some people even coming from hours away to come get our chicks, for the most part, our customers at our store have been very, very civil and friendly and cool about the whole thing. But I've been hearing some horror stories at other stores and other places that sell chicks, and a lot of people aren't being quite so nice. So first and foremost, I want to say to any of you people out there that are panic buying chicks, please be nice. Be nice to the hatcheries, be nice to the people working at the store selling them, be nice to local breeders if you buy from them. It's extremely stressful with these high volumes of people and all the demand and taking care of the live animals and making sure that we're putting their welfare first. So please, please be patient and kind. And be patient and kind to the other customers that are waiting in line. I know it seems like you're rival because they're trying to buy what you want to buy. But just be nice to each other. It's not hard and it makes everyone's day better, including yours. And if a store or a hatchery or a breeder does sell out of chicks, or if they don't have the breed that you want, or if there's any delays, because the hatcheries are so overwhelmed right now, there's a lot of delays with orders. It's not the end of the world. It'll be okay. You'll get them eventually. And pouting or being mad is not going to fix it. And if you really don't want to wait, there's always other places to look, so just keep looking. If you can find someone locally to support, please do that. I say this all the time in my other videos, but it's very important to support any local businesses, especially now, because times are tough for everyone. And that brings me to my other point. If you are buying chicks or hatching eggs or even just eggs for eating from a local producer or farmer or local store, please be kind about pricing. As you all know, the economy is not in great shape, so everyone is struggling. Just because someone owns a business or they sell animals does not mean that they're well off or rich or that they have all this money or that they're greedy. Times are tough for business owners, just like it is for all the regular people out there. So please be kind and don't show up demanding to set your own prices, because that just doesn't go well and it's not really fair. It would be the same if someone showed up at your job and told you that you deserve to be making less. That wouldn't make you feel very good. So please don't do that to people selling eggs or selling chicks, because the truth is, people doing this, we're not making that much money off of it to begin with. So if we cut everyone a deal that asks for a deal, then we'll all be out of business and we won't continue to do this, and then you won't be able to get your chicks because the businesses will be closing. And a lot of breeders also think of it this way. If you're not willing to spend the money to buy the chick, they're afraid that you might not want to spend the money to take care of it if it ever gets any medical issues, or money for safe housing for the animal, or for feed, or anything else it might need. So keep that in mind. The neighbors are out. They probably think I'm talking to myself. Oh well. So in my other videos, when I talked about my thoughts on people that have been panic buying, I said this before and I'll say it again. Please do a lot of research before you do it. Don't go out and buy them just because everyone's doing it and because you feel panicked. I think it's a good idea to know where your food comes from, and if you're able to, I think it's a great idea to raise your own food. But really think about it this way. Think about the money that's going to go into them and the time taking care of them, feeding them, cleaning up after them, and keep in mind that feed is at an all-time high, which is part of the reason why eggs are so expensive right now. So just because you get chickens does not mean you're going to have free eggs. But if you're cool with all that and you're willing and able to do that, you should totally go for it once you've done the research and you can make sure that this is something that you want to be dealing with and taking care of. Some chicken breeds can live up to 10 years, so that's another thing to keep in mind too. And as they age, their egg production is really going to decrease. Which brings me to my next point. As chickens age, their bodies start to slow down, which is perfectly normal. It happens to all living creatures, including us. And there are so many beautiful, different, unique chicken breeds out there that it might be tempting to want to get all these different ones all at the same time because they're cool and understandably you want them. But you might want to reconsider before you rush out and try to get all the different breeds that you think are cool. Because, like I said, these animals, as they age, their egg production is going to go down. So if you buy all the chickens you want at the same time, that means that they're all going to age at the same time, start dying at the same time, egg production is going to go down at the same time, and that's not good. You'll be feeding a bunch of freeloaders, which some people, and this is not my style at all, but some people will butcher their chickens when they're old and use them as a feed source. I eat meat. I'm not against other people doing it. I just personally wouldn't do it with my own chickens because I consider mine pets, and the way I see it is they've spent all their good years providing me with eggs. I'm not going to turn around and eat them just because they got old and slowed down. I give mine a nice retirement, and I continue to take care of them. I'm not judging other people that want to use them for a food source. I mean, who doesn't like chicken? But I just personally could not do it. But that is the reality, that when these girls get old, they're not going to lay a lot of eggs. So if you do want to get chickens, I recommend that you kind of like decide the breeds you want and kind of break them up into some different years of getting them. So get some now, get a few new ones next year, a few new ones the following year, and so on. That way you're constantly adding new younger birds to your flock, so that way when your old ones start to decline a little bit, you'll have the younger ones to still continue to lay. So when you're planning your enclosure, I recommend that you make it as large as you can, so that way you can continue to add more breeds, more younger birds. Get a bigger coop right off the bat, because you will end up needing it, because birds are addicting. Chicken math is a thing, and that's basically, people say that you'll be like, oh, I only want like 3 chickens, for example. But then you see how fun they are and all the cool different breeds and colors and all the different colored eggs, and then before you know it, you have 10 plus. But I highly recommend just like all the breeds you find interesting, just divide them up between the years, get a few here, get a few there, and you'll definitely be happy that you did that in the long run. Panic buying never works out for anyone. Don't go out and buy more than what you really need. Because it was the same mentality that caused all the supply chain issues and all the shortages when people were panic buying during COVID, and people couldn't find toilet paper or cleaning products and all this stuff because people were buying more than they actually needed, and companies could not keep up with the demand. It's never a bad idea, and now I'm talking about non-living things like supplies. It's never a bad idea to stock up on a couple extra things, but don't go out and clear the whole shelf in one shopping trip, because it's that behavior that causes issues. But like I said, I'm not against the idea of just buying 1 or 2 extra things here or there every week when you go shopping. It's not a bad idea to have a prepping shelf in your basement, but don't get greedy. If you do go out to buy chicks, I recommend that you show up early to the places that are selling them and be kind, because I know at my store I enforce a rule for the welfare of the animal that I won't sell them as soon as we pick them up from the post office, because those poor little babies have been traveling all night. They're cold, they're hungry, they're tired. So I warm them up, get them hydrated, feed them, let them settle in for a couple hours, and then I sell them. I know a lot of stores don't do this, but I personally think that they all should. But if you do encounter other stores that have this policy, be kind and patient with them, hang out and wait for the designated time, so that way you can be one of the first in line. The time does come. It was funny, the other day we had some customers, they literally brought lawn chairs and they were camping out in our garden center outside of the store just waiting until the chicks were cleared to be sold. And everyone was having a great time. They were out there telling stories about their chickens and just talking, having so much fun waiting. And that just made me really happy that everyone was being so cooperative and reasonable about the whole thing. But I have heard at some other stores, people have been getting into fights, just like horrible things that people have been saying to other customers that bought the last of the breed that another customer wanted, people being mean to staff. It's a really stressful time for people buying chicks, and it's not supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be fun. So just keep that in mind when you go out. Plan ahead. I recommend you buy all your supplies beforehand, so that way you're ready to go. Everything's set up at home and you can just go in, get your chicks, get in quickly, get out quickly, and then go home to all your supplies and feed and brooder set up already ready to go. And also remember this, if you've never had poultry before, birds are very dusty animals, so it's not fun having them in the house when they're chicks. Luckily, that's not forever, though. It's just temporary. But keep that in mind when you're deciding which room to keep them in. Birds poop a lot, they eat a lot. But if you're a gardener, that's good news, because their poop makes a really good compost. I really enjoy having them. For me, they're pretty easy to take care of, but they're definitely not going to be for everyone. So just do a lot of research, talk to other people that own them, go visit some birds if you can before you make the decision if you're not entirely sure if you want them. Don't just follow the crowd and do it because everyone is. Based off of some stories I've heard, it seems like there's a lot of people out there that think it's the end of the world if they don't get a chicken. And I can promise you it's not the end of the world. They are a lot of fun to have. They're great to have if you're ready for it. But just remember, if the place that you go to sells out before you can get any, it's going to be okay. The one thing that makes me really sad, though, is on some of the Facebook groups I follow, some of the different chicken pages, it seems like there's a lot of new owners that don't know what they're doing at all or don't care, because when other people try to give them advice, they get really mad or defensive. I've seen some scary things out there of people saying how they take care of their birds. So please don't be anyone like that. Please be responsible, because I know some baby chicks are cheap. I mean, I know nowadays there are some breeds out there that go for a lot. But compared to like a dog or a cat or a horse or something like that, these are cheaper animals, but they're still living creatures that matter, still have personalities and feelings. They can still get sick just like any other animal. So please be responsible for them and take good care of them. I saw one post, and I really hope this was a troll post. I really hope this wasn't someone that was serious, but for some reason she was against feeding her baby chicks actual chick feed. And she was trying to make something homemade, and all of her chicks kept dying, and she didn't understand why for some reason. And when other people in the group were trying to explain to her the problem and recommend actual chick feed, she just didn't want to listen. And even though baby chicks grow quickly and they get their feathers quickly, they need to be on a baby chick grower starter feed for at least 16 to 20 weeks. Because if you switch them to the layer feed too early, it's going to be bad for them, because there's more calcium in the layer feed and less protein, and that could really screw up their growth and hurt their bones. They do not need to be on layer feed unless they've started laying eggs or are getting very close to that age. I make my own chicken scratch, but that's just a treat for them. For a staple diet, please don't make any homemade feed unless you've talked to an actually trained nutritionist that knows what they're doing and can make sure you're doing it properly. And then to go ahead and finish off this video, I don't really like to end anything on a sad note, but I did want to touch on the fact that one of my favorite chickens, you've probably seen her in a lot of the other videos, my splash lace red Wyandotte named Dove, has passed away. It happened very quickly. And it was rough because prior to that, I've only ever lost one chicken so far, so it was rough. But I've been lucky that so far I've had such great luck with the majority of them. She had a vitamin B deficiency, and I'm thinking it was something genetic, like just something wrong with her body for whatever reason, couldn't process it correctly, because she ate all the same things that they are eating and they're all fine. I've never had this issue before, but she started showing symptoms, and birds and prey animals in general will hide any kind of illness as well as they can, because if they show any signs that they're weak or not feeling well, the predators will pick them off. So it's a natural instinct for them to cover up illness, and they're very good at it. But I noticed something was off with her, and it turned out to be a vitamin B deficiency, and we did start treatment, but unfortunately she did not respond to it, and she ended up passing away. She was one of my favorites for sure, so it was really, really hard. But unfortunately, it's just part of life, and I like to mention it because just be on the lookout for any of your animals hiding an injury or an illness. Dove did get treatment, like I said, so sometimes even if you do get them treatment or figure out what it is, it doesn't always work, but sometimes that's just how things are. But everyone else is doing really well. But to end this on a more positive note, here's some really cute footage of the baby chicks that we got in at the store this week. You might see on one of the signs that it says blue lace red Wyandottes. They unfortunately got rescheduled and they did not show up yet. So hopefully they'll show up in the next week or two and I can get you some footage of them because they're really cute. And in the video, you'll see some black copper Maran chicks. I don't have that breed yet, but I am supposed to get some. But this is an egg from my golden cuckoo Maran as an example, because Marans lay the really, really dark, pretty chocolate looking eggs. Now the black copper Maran's eggs are supposed to be even darker than this one. So here's that for somewhat of a reference since I don't have that breed yet. And now here's the baby chicks. I love how the Marans have the fuzzy little legs.